Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And, oh man, Canada has made just a massive mistake. I'm going to open with that. I mean, Canada, does the Canadian government want to be the 51st state, right? Are they trying to make that happen? Because you would think so, based on what they're doing. We got a lot of other things to cover too, but I'm going to start talking about Canada, which has just doomed themselves to, just be incredibly defeated. So we're going to go through all of that, take your calls. As the golden age of America continues, if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, and it's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name's Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. All right, it's a new week, and Canada, I've never seen a country make a decision and a government make a decision to lose a war and collapse their country and celebrate it at the same time. They've picked a new prime minister, Carney, who's a left-wing lunatic, all right? And I'm going to play you a clip of him. He just made a terrible mistake, but he's a liberal lunatic. And Canada, they're on the verge of collapse. Their government is just too arrogant to know it. And, through all that's been going on, the Canadian government doesn't seem to understand that they're on America's coattails. They're nothing without us, that the United States has been funding and financing their entire country while they're ripping us off. President Trump said the other day that they have a tariff on milk products of over 200%, on dairy products. What? And we're supposed to suck that up? Are you kidding? The party's over. But they got this new prime minister coming in, Carney. And, in America, a Carney is one of the lowest things someone can be. I mean, what does Carney mean, right? Carney is just a low-life, very sketchy person that you don't trust, a con man. No one trusts the Carneys. And this guy, he just made a huge mistake. So we're going to cover that and talk about a whole bunch more on the program today as well as we start this new week. We're only 19 days away from our cruise setting sail. So those of you that are going on the cruise, I can't wait. I might pack this weekend because if I pack, I'll come across some things I may need to pick up and buy for the cruise. So I think I'm going to pack this weekend. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't usually pack so early, but I want to make sure I got everything I need and plenty of time to get. I don't want any last minute me having to run out to the store and buy this, that, and everything else. All right, so let me get to this. So this Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister of Canada, oh my goodness. You would think that after what's gone on with the United States and Canada recently, keep in mind, President Trump, with just really one post to Truth Social, not even X, Truth Social, he brought regime change to Canada. Trudeau's out. This Carney is in just from one post on Truth Social. If a Truth Social post does that, what chance do they stand against us? So he came up to celebrate his victory. This guy Carney is celebrating that he's going to be maybe the last prime minister of Canada. He may be the prime minister that oversees the annexation of Canada into the 51st state, because the way he came out yesterday was on the attack against the United States, the American people, and our favorite president, Donald Trump. Listen, this is Carney, the new governor of Canada.
There's someone who's trying to do the opposite. There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy.
Oh.
Yeah. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Oh, yes. Yes. You know, this is what this Carney, you know, Carneys are con men, right? Would you trust a Carney with anything? Would you give a country to a Carney? So this Carney character, he is under the impression that Canada has its own independent economy that's not reliant or dependent on the United States in any way, shape, or form. Well, he's going to be in for a rude awakening.
There's someone who's trying to do the opposite. There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump,
oh yes,
as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living.
Okay. Now, for this guy's out of his mind. They stole all of our industry and our car industry and everything with Bill Clinton's NAFTA. They have import taxes on our goods that are over 200% in some instances, according to President Trump. But we're the bad guy? We're the bad guy? We're funding their entire country. The United States pays for the Canadian socialized healthcare system. And we also protect their entire country from foreigners with our military. But we're the bad guys. We're the ones taking advantage. You know what it is with Canada? They're like welfare queens. They're on the dole of the United States. They're on American welfare for so long they don't know another way.
He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses. And we cannot let him succeed.
Oh.
And we won't.
Oh, really?
I am proud of the response of Canadians who are making their voices heard and their wallets felt.
Oh, their wallets felt? How are they? What, really? Are any of us in America feeling the pain from the Canadian wallet? The only thing I've seen are these idiots that are taking American goods off the shelves of Canadian stores that have already been purchased by the Canadian store owners. It's already gone through the imports. It's already been paid for. So they're taking merchandise that they've already paid for and not selling it. I think the pain from the wallets of Canada are being felt by these idiots that are removing American goods from their shelves that they already paid for.
I am grateful for how our provinces are stepping up to the fight. Because when we are united, we are Canada strong.
Oh, my goodness. Canada strong. What does that mean? Is Quebec along with them, by the way? Are they still separatist? This guy's a nut. What pain economically can Canada bring to the United States? What do I buy that we can't get here on our own?
The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada.
Oh, really? You know, this is what this guy doesn't get. You know, Canada's population is about that of California, okay? So, I mean, think about it. What if Florida or California, but let's say one of our states, I'll use Florida since I'm in Florida. What if Florida said, we don't want to do any business with the rest of the United States, and we're going to start a trade war with the United States here in Florida? That's right. We're going to have import taxes against the United States here in Florida. Who do you think would win? Who do you think would win? Florida or the rest of the 49 states, the United States? See, Canada, you know, with this Carney who's acting all butch here, what they're like to me, and I don't know if any of you ever had this experience with dogs. You know those little yelpy dogs? Sometimes people will have two dogs. They'll have like a German Shepherd or a Doberman, and then they'll have like this little yelpy dog that's like a lap dog. And the lapdog thinks it's as big as the German Shepherd or Doberman, and it's always barking, barking, barking. It doesn't know how tiny it is. That's Canada, okay? The United States, we're the Doberman, and Canada is that little lapdog that doesn't know how tiny it is.
And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
Good luck with that, Carney.
And until they can join us in making credible and reliable commitments to free and fair trade. As Christy did.
Yeah, well, why don't they drop, Trump is only proposing raising our import taxes to the levels that theirs are. So if Canada is going to raise their import taxes, we're just going to raise ours more. See, they don't have a large enough population to support their industry. Without us, they starve.
And in the meantime, we will ensure that all the proceeds from our tariffs will be used to protect our workers.
Whatever that means. Okay, so that's the new prime minister of I should say the new governor of the 51st state of Canada. All right, we're going to take our first break of the week. There's more to share. Your calls are certainly welcome on this. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, 888-465-2631. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. This guy's out of his mind. This guy is so out of his mind. Who would win a trade war, Florida or the United States? What would be your guess? Exactly. Okay, so we'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. If you'd like to call in, the number's pinned at the top of the live chat. And I just checked, the free shipping is still in effect at mypillow.com on all orders, okay? On all orders. So I'm going to talk about that when we get back. I just checked. A great deal from Mike Lindell. You want to take advantage of this. I'm surprised it's still there. Okay, so we'll be 2.5 minutes. We'll be back live. Oh, there's people on hold, Mark. I just not taking calls yet. I gotta go through some of the stories first before I go to the calls. You're all welcome to call in if you want to call in. I will get to the calls in a bit. I'd love to hear from some Canadians. Do we have any Canadians that are watching? I'd love to hear some Canadians talk about their Carney prime minister who's going to lead them to doom. This guy, he's the worst. He's worse than Trudeau. See, Trudeau knew that he was out of his league. This guy doesn't know it. And if some Canadians want to call, they can call in. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. I mean, if I were a Canadian, I'd be so upset at this guy. He's setting Canada up for economic disaster. I mean, this is just stupid what he's doing. It doesn't get dumber than this guy. 1 minute. We'll be back on the air in 1 minute. Actually, less than a minute. Oh, this is great. I tell you, we're so lucky to have Trump. I don't know, if you're a Canadian, I'd love to hear from you. You're very welcome to call in. 35 seconds, we'll be back. Oh, the United States is winning in everything. This is the golden age of America we're in right now. The golden age. Canada's done. I hope the Canadian tourists don't come here. We in Florida, we're not big fans. The Canadians are a pain when they're down here. Worse than the New Yorkers. All right, 10 seconds. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Before we get back to the fall of Canada, I just checked during the break, and Mike Lindell, with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, is still offering free shipping on all orders, no minimum order size. And I'm surprised it's still there. I was very much expecting it to be gone this morning because there's also another offer on all. So think about this now. With our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, free shipping on all orders, no minimums. And also Mike Lindell, on orders of $100 or more, he'll send you 2 free standard MyPillows, which is the original MyPillow that started it all. So that's great. And if you already have MyPillows, you can use these as a gift to someone or use them in your guest room. But they make great gifts. So on orders of $100 or more with our promo code KANE, you get 2 free standard MyPillows, the original MyPillow that started it all, plus free shipping site-wide with huge specials throughout the site. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE, take advantage of these deals. And when I saw that he's offering the 2 free standard MyPillows on orders of $100 or more, I just assumed the free shipping would be gone. That's why I checked during the break, and no, it's still available. So 2 free pillows and free shipping, pretty good deal. That's all, of course, with our promo code KANE at checkout. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right. So the Canadians, they got a new governor to replace Trudeau, Carney. And I looked this guy up on Wikipedia. This guy's a nutbag. Listen to this. If you're on hold, hang in there. We gotta let people know what a stupid thing the Canadians have done here. So this new governor of Canada, they call him prime minister, but you know that's a good question. Is President Trump going to call him prime minister or governor? We'll find out soon enough. But now listen, this is a little bit of his background from his Wikipedia. He was chairman of an asset management group where he led the firm's environmental, social, and governance investment strategy. The environmental, social, and governance strategy, that was a part of a asset management group. Now, the environmental, that's the green stuff. And social, what's that? Like BLM or something? What does that mean? So this guy's a radical liberal. And then I'm going down here. Look at this. This is, let me find this. Let me find what he did here. He's very involved. Listen to this. This is their new governor prime minister. He was appointed as the Canadian United Nations Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance. So you mean to tell me some social justice? It's so interesting, too. In Canada, they're like the radical liberals here. They're all white. So if they're so enlightened up there, why don't they have a new governor of color? Huh? Why are all their governors and prime ministers white? So he was the Canadian Special Envoy to the United Nations for Climate Action. So that's who they got. Yeah, I mean, what a lunatic! You think some climate action warrior is going to win in a duel against President Trump? This is in Breitbart. The Justin Trudeau era is coming to a close in Canada, with the governing Liberal Party. Now, the Liberal Party is the one that's led them to their doom, selecting former central banker Mark Carney as its new leader and eventual prime minister on Sunday. The leadership contest, I'm reading from Breitbart, the leadership contest, he very well could end up being the last prime minister of Canada. The leadership contest, sparked by Trudeau's resignation, came to a close on Sunday with former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney winning the party election. He won 85.9% of the vote. He was up against some others. There were two other people running against him, but obviously he cleaned their clocks. Let me keep going through this. What else do we have here? Okay, so I want you to think about this. This guy's going to become prime minister, right? He only got 131,674 votes. So they're going to pick someone to be their prime minister who got less than 132,000 votes in total. He didn't win by that many. See, this shows you what a tiny country it is. They've made him as party leader. So, for you liberals out there, being prime minister is like being the Speaker of the House, right? So they're making someone their prime minister, and probably Canada's greatest time of crisis in any living Canadian's history, with less than 132,000 votes. And keep in mind, he didn't win by that many. That's how many he got total. So is he really representative of Canada? For us in this is interesting, and I'm hoping to hear from some Canadians today on the program. Sometimes even when, our party's in control of the House of Representatives and the Senate, people get disappointed at who the Speaker is or the Senate leader is. This happens all the time, and I feel that frustration sometimes too, right? But we don't have any say in it. The House members vote, they make deals, they wrangle, they pay each other off and exchange favors and deals and jobs and all this stuff and committee assignments. And then they don't care what the people think. They make the Speaker of the House the person that they want to, based on these secret inside backroom deals that they've done. Well, that's how it works in Canada to be prime minister. You become the leader of the majority party, and they elect you as prime minister, which is the equivalent of being the Speaker of the House. And I find it impossible to believe, with the things I've seen going on in Canada right now, that the Canadian people are happy with this. I tell you guys so often that 80% of the Canadian population lives within 150 miles of the U.S. border. 150 miles of the U.S. border, 80% of them. That tells you how important we are to them. They mean nothing to us. Nothing. And when you put someone in charge who's running around acting like he has some kind of mandate, when he got less than 132,000 votes to get the gig, they're in big trouble. And this guy, with his climate action and his social justice warrior ideas and everything that he has an arrogance to him that's going to be his doom. And he stands up for Trump, it's over. If he were a smart guy, he would want to clean up the mess that Governor Trudeau was left behind, want to have a summit meeting of some kind with Trump, and settle this and get everything right, equal, and fair. Remember, all Trump is doing is raising our import taxes to the level of their import taxes on us. They act like they have free trade with no taxes on us, and Trump's bringing in these huge. They have import taxes that are over 200% on some products. Over 200%. So really, who is the one that's being fair here? I would say Donald Trump's being the fair one. They're being out of control. And what Carney's doing here is he's going to cause the import taxes to even go up higher than they are now. So can Canada survive without the United States? I'm here to tell you no. They have a tiny little economy, very tiny economy, just a little. If we lost the part of our economy that's the same size as Canada, we wouldn't even feel it. The American economy is so large. We're the largest economy in the world, and they have a tiny little economy that's about the size of an American state, maybe even less than some states. I would not be surprised if California's economy is bigger than the Canadian economy. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. So you've got the little yelpy lapdog going up against a Great Dane, really, is what they're going up against. And they're too stupid, too arrogant, and you got a liberal social justice warrior here and their new prime minister. They don't even know it. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. We have so much to cover. I will take your calls on this as well. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be back right after this. William, thank you. You wonder if Act Blue would receive USAID funding? I would assume yes. Wouldn't you? Be back in 2 minutes. We'll be back in 1 minute. 1 minute, we'll be back. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, all right? It's over for Canada. They're done. They're just done. No getting around that. 40 seconds, less than that, actually. I like the relaxing silence myself. Yeah, Canada can have 200, yeah. Okay, here we go. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So why is it okay for Canada to have 250% import tariff taxes on the United States, but we're not allowed to have any? What is that all about? Does anyone know? Okay, now, I was watching yesterday and listening to Fox News. And Fox News on Sunday... Now, Maria Bartiromo did a very good interview with President Trump. I'm not talking about her, but I'm talking about their afternoon programming. There really is no difference between the afternoon programming on Sunday afternoon on the Fox News channel and MSNBC. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. The coverage that I saw on Fox News yesterday afternoon was appalling. John Scott and some others. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. I was in shock. And you know, one of the things that they talk a lot about is they were talking as if Trump's losing in Ukraine. Now, what they're talking about, there's a couple things going on, and we're almost at the end of the war in Ukraine. This last week, the president talked about this before he came to Mar-a-Lago this week. But Russia has launched a major bombing campaign on Ukraine a few days ago. It's massive. I mean, they've had massive loss of life, which is really sad, and we're very much opposed to that, of course, in this country. But the people are talking about this as if Putin's no longer a partner in peace, that Russia's not cooperating with Trump because they're doing this huge bombing of Ukraine. Putin is not responsible for this bombing campaign in Ukraine. It's Zelensky and those Democrats that got him worked up before his meeting with Trump a week and a half ago, Friday before last. Putin, it's sad. I mean, I wish he wasn't doing it, but he did it. Putin is bombing Ukraine to bomb Ukraine into submission because Zelensky refuses to have peace talks. Elon Musk over the weekend had a great solution to end this war because most people, I think, agree that Zelensky is a puppet for the Ukrainian oligarchs. And Elon Musk said they should freeze the assets, freeze the money of the Ukrainian oligarchs, the Ukrainian billionaires. If they freeze their assets, that'll be the end of it. Okay? That'll be the end of it. But the people that have died in Ukraine over the past few days, which is a very sad thing, it's because of Zelensky and those Democrats that met with him before he met with Trump at the White House. They got him all worked up. They should be ashamed of themselves. They've got blood on their hands. If Zelensky would have done the right thing at the White House meeting with the president, there'd be a ceasefire going on right now, and all those people that have died never would have died in this bombing campaign because the bombing campaign would not have happened. Okay? And that's a fact. And what is Putin to do? Putin wants peace. That's why he did this bombing campaign. He wants the war over. And he's trying to get the Ukrainian people to put pressure on Zelensky to do it. But this fool got so worked up by these Democrats and establishment Congress people in that meeting before Trump, he got all these people killed. Okay? So, and Fox News, shame on Fox News. Now, this is Stephanie Rule. This is such a bizarre thing. This is Stephanie Rule over the weekend on MSNBC talking about Ukraine.
The person who's watching, who just heard you say Donald Trump is not standing up for Ukraine.
Okay, now, first of all, why should Donald Trump be standing up for Ukraine? This is MSNBC Stephanie Rule here. Why should Donald Trump stand up for Ukraine? What Donald Trump's standing up for is to end the war and save the lives of people, stop the killing on both sides. Why should he be standing up and an advocate for Ukraine? That doesn't even make sense.
The person who's watching, who just heard you say Donald Trump is not standing up for Ukraine. What do you say to the person who says, well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America?
Yeah. Now that's how I feel. Isn't that how you feel? Ending the war is standing up for Ukraine. All right. Getting the war over, stopping the killing. And I think Trump should be focused on our country. Don't you? Of course.
Not standing up for Ukraine. What do you say to the person who says, well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America? What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, but
I don't have time for it. That means that this liberal panelist on MSNBC has no response to that. Why should the president stand up for Ukraine before America? He has no answer for it. So like a liberal, he says, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that.
Well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America. What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, but we hear it. We hear it.
Here's the thing. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a place where you thought the Russians were the good guys? What part of America did you grow up in where they taught you the Russians were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys?
Okay. First off, Ukraine's not our ally. Okay, they're a patron. They're a welfare queen. Right? They're sucking money away from us, but they're not our ally. What have they backed us up on? And this MSNBC left-wing panel, what country did you grow up in where Russia wasn't the bad guy? What they're talking about here is all this Cold War stuff. And if you remember, those that were advocates for the war in Vietnam said, if we don't stop the communists, which was a code word for the Soviet Union, if we don't stop the Soviet Union in Korea, if we don't stop the communist in, Vietnam, next they'll be in Brooklyn. The domino theory of Soviet overtaking everything. They're trying to bring back the domino theory. And the liberals were the ones who said, that's not true. They have no intention on taking over the United States. Now, it's so bizarre, really, when you see this. The Democrats, the leftists, the radical liberal lunatics are taking the position of the pro-Vietnam War people and bringing in the domino theory.
The person who's watching, who just heard you say Donald Trump is not standing up for Ukraine. What do you say to the person who says, well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America? What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, but we hear it. We hear it.
Here's the thing. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a place where you thought the Russians were the good guys? What part of America did you grow up in where they taught you the Russians were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys? That's the flip here that we need to continue to remind people. The Russians are the bad guys. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're bombing cities.
Okay, now there is bombing going on. They're raping women. Pavlo in Ukraine and his girlfriend are running through the countryside. She doesn't seem worried. He doesn't seem worried.
The Ukrainians are the noble good guys. In some ways, they're more American than we are.
Did you hear that? MSNBC. In some ways, Ukrainians are more American than we Americans. How's that even possible? How can a Ukrainian in any way be more American than an American?
Were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys. That's the flip here that we need to continue to remind people. The Russians are the bad guys. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're bombing cities. The Ukrainians are the noble good guys. In some ways, they're more American than we are over the last couple of years.
Oh, my goodness.
And we must stand with them in the same way we stood with the Allies in World War II and since this country was founded. This is not just about Ukraine. This is about the core and the integrity of American values. And that's what he's also betraying. Not just Ukraine. He's betraying America.
Okay, so Ukrainians are more American than we are. There you go. There you have it. That's how they view it. Now, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. Oh, man. People are talking about all these trade wars and what that's going to do to the stock market. And I don't worry about the stock market. Do you? I see it in the news. I don't have time for that. The stock market goes up, it goes down. And if you're with Joe Thomas and you have annuities, it doesn't matter. The stock market could crash. They could open up Fort Knox. Fort Knox has no gold in it, and the stock market drops 1,000 points every day for a week. Your money will not change. Your nest egg will be safe. You will not lose a dime of your nest egg in an annuity. Plus, you'll be turning your money into guaranteed income for life. And you get a 10% bonus on your money on day one. Give Joe Thomas a call. He's offering no-charge phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located in the United States. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to Joe's website, jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com, and you'll find his phone number there. All right? We'll take our last break of the first hour. Callers on hold, stand by. Back after this. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some of these calls when we get back. Less than a minute. We'll be back. I'll take some calls, and I've got there's so much to cover. I mean, this was one of the busiest weekends of news that I've seen in a long time. Yeah, I mean, I don't worry about the stock market. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Monday morning, everyone. And, man, so much news over the weekend, trying to cover as much of it as I possibly can. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, it's going to be one of those days, guys. You're on the air. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's what I've been dealing with a little bit this morning, but that's okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones in a few minutes. But, this is going to be one of those days. But I will tell you this, okay? Don't believe what the fake news is telling you. You know, the fake news are trying to create a narrative that is 100% false, that the American economy is about to collapse. It's going to be the opposite. Not only do we have the largest economy, we have the largest consumer economy in the world, which means Canada, Mexico, and all these other countries depend on us to buy their garbage, all right? Without us, they're out of business. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Enjoying those higher egg prices?
No, I haven't bought any eggs recently. Have you?
Yeah, what about everything else? You enjoying those tariffs, yeah?
What? No, I don't know. Tariffs on me.
Yeah, not on you, not on anybody else, not on... No, really?
Oh, do I hear a Canadian accent? Do I hear a Canadian accent?
No, I'm American. Sorry, bro.
Oh, I heard a little bit of a Canadian accent. I was hoping we had a Canadian.
Well, you're wrong. American.
Oh,
sorry, bro.
I'm embarrassed. American. I wish you were Canadian. I'm embarrassed.
Well, I'm American. Sorry, bro. Dude, that hat looks ridiculous on you.
Okay. Appreciate the call. There we go. Yes. He's talking about my MAGA hat. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pamela.
Hey, Chris. I was really hoping to get a Canadian on the line to tell us about this social justice climate activist that they've made their new governor. But anyway, what's on your mind, Chris?
Well, you know, I briefly saw a little bit of that on the internet, and I didn't read into it because I know how conveniently liberal they are up there. And I mean, what are they? They're heading up the international rules for radical here because it's all doublespeak and everything from the environmental stuff that they conveniently lean on. I mean, they're Al Gore's clones, I guess. This whole deal about being self-important and America needing them as much, if not more, than they need us. Give me a break.
They have no idea what they're talking about.
You know, they're clueless. Like I said, doublespeak. This is ridiculous. But, you know, listen, follow the money. You know, all this speak about, I mean, look, how many media outlets have been getting millions in subsidies from our taxpayer dollars? So, you know, it doesn't surprise me to hear them lobbying for, you know, Ukraine and everything else.
What's happened with Canada is they're so institutionalized. They've been living off of the United States for forever. They don't know another way, and they're not. I don't even think in many ways they're aware of it. They're stupid. I mean, look. They're taking goods. They're taking American goods off the shelves that they've already paid for. So I mean that's moronic.
You know, absolutely. And that's the first thing I thought of. As soon as I said, are they kidding me?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, again, no. What President Trump says, that no cards or same deal.
They don't have the cards, he says.
You know, they don't have the cards. You know, same deal.
That's his.
And it's ridiculous. Yeah. And, you know, it reminds me of some of our liberals here, of course. You know, they just don't get it. You know, here they're finding millions upon millions and billions of dollars of waste, and yet all they're talking about is, well, but I don't like Trump, or any other little thing that sort of, you know, they should be happy. Everybody from those who are getting their millions and paying taxes, or
yeah,
you know, like
I mean, you know, I was talking about this earlier. Canada having a trade war with the United States would be like Florida having a trade war with the United States.
That was a great analogy.
We would never win it.
No leg to stand on, Canada, and here they are. Yeah. Again, this new person who has not much of a resume to stand on at all. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. Mm-hmm. But no, that's ridiculous. Trump will eat that up. And you know what? President Trump doesn't want to do that, but you have these liberal leaders that are going to really come down hard with their foot in their mouth. So
yeah. All right. Well, Chris, it's good to hear from you. I appreciate it. Take care, man. Good call. If you're on hold, hang in there. You know, there's a lot of problems that they have, okay? But I want to throw this out to you. President Trump said on the Bartiromo, and did you guys see the Bartiromo interview that he did? Very good interview. She had a great interview, Bartiromo. And he said that the tax bill is coming soon. The tax bill's coming soon. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and an extension, maybe even making permanent the Trump tax cuts. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'll tell you why. The Democrats, the left, and the media, you know, all these never-Trumpers and everything else, they spend all day, every day, they've been doing this for a couple of months now, telling us how bad taxes are, right? Because tariffs are import taxes. Oh, taxes. Taxes get passed along to the consumer. Taxes doom economy. When the Republicans and President Trump introduce this massive tax bill, we know the Democrats are going to oppose it. How are they going to have any credibility opposing a reduction in taxes for the American people when they're spending all day and all night trying to reduce the taxes for Canadian people, Mexican people, and European people? They're going to have a difficult time with that. And let me tell you, this new tax bill that's coming with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, but in particular on tips, for people that are part of the tip economy, bartenders, servers, waiters, waitresses, Uber drivers, you know, all the people that work on tips. When there's tax cuts in the past, they never get tax cuts. Never, because they don't pay income tax. Most people that are tip workers don't earn enough money to pay income tax. They pay payroll taxes, but not income taxes. So when there's tax breaks and tax cuts, they don't get any. This is the first time that people that are hourly workers, tip workers and hourly workers, are going to actually get a tax cut in the history of the country. You understand? It may be one of the largest, if not the largest, tax cut in history by at least the number of people that are affected in a positive way. And that's amazing. That is truly amazing. I feel so bad. You know, people that are going to be getting these tax breaks, it will be life-changing money for most of them. It'll be enough money each week in their paycheck, in their take-home. You know, in the old days when tips were everybody was using cash, it was a different thing, okay? Because they would pocket it. It was like under the table. But nobody really uses cash too much anymore. Some people do, but not too many people. Everybody pays with Apple Pay or a debit card. And so you tip with your Apple Pay, you tip with your debit card. So it goes through the payroll, so they pay taxes on that. And it's been that way for a long time. This isn't new. It's been that way for years. So not only are they going to get a massive tax break, their take-home pay is going to skyrocket for that group of people. It's going to be one of the most significant and important tax cuts in the history of this country for the American workers, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. Oh man, Dr. Appleton's amazing. He's rid me of pain 7 times. Can you imagine what I'd be like if it weren't for Dr. Appleton? I would probably be just on medication. I'd be a junkie on pain medication. I would be in so much pain. You know, when I went in for my shoulder injuries, because I've had 3 shoulder injuries from doing things I shouldn't be doing, you know, riding the skateboard and stuff and taking falls. And when I've gone in there for my shoulder injuries, I've been in so much pain I was almost in tears. When I went in for my arthritis pain, oh my goodness. When I went in for my arthritis pain in my finger, that pain was so bad. Dr. Appleton, he examined me. He says, Brian, you've got arthritis. I was like, oh, I'm done. He's like, no. We could treat arthritis with the laser away pain treatment. And he did. And my arthritis pain is gone. My pain from my shoulder injuries is gone. And all the other things he treated me for, gone. And those pains, the shoulders and the arthritis, oh, I was almost in tears. The shoulder pain, I went right from the show, got off the air, went right to see Dr. Appleton in the morning for the shoulder pain. I was describing it on the air that day. I said, I'm in so much pain. I feel, it was in my shoulder. I feel like I'd gotten punched in my arm by Mike Tyson in his prime, and that somebody had a steak knife in my muscle and was cutting the muscle. I was in that much pain. I go to see Dr. Appleton. I say, Doc, I said, I'm going to need all your miracles today. And he treated me with the laser treatment. The pain's gone. It has not returned. There's no surgery, no drugs, no injections, no downtime. You don't even feel the laser. It's not only painless, you don't even feel it. And the best part is it works. Also, appointments aren't necessary. Walk-ins are welcome with Dr. Appleton, even on Saturdays. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. That's AppletonCairo.com. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Callers on hold, standby. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, if you're just tuning in, you missed a lot. Canada has made their new governor / prime minister a climate justice warrior and a social justice warrior who is vowing to bring down America. So we're in, it's almost like Canada's decided that they no longer want to be a country. So much is going on that's good. So much is going on that's positive. And this is what it's like winning and draining the swamp. This swamp draining at the level that it's happening, that's happening right now, is at a level I don't think anybody could have possibly envisioned. And President Trump, they're doing something that should have been done 30 years ago that no one had the guts to do, but President Trump does. Our schools, our universities have been overrun by foreign nationals that are over here to destroy us. Even during the Vietnam War era, the Vietnam War protest movement was a fake movement, okay? The Vietnam War was very popular. There was not, and we know this because Nixon won re-election with 49 states in 72, okay? That's how popular the Vietnam War was. I'm not saying it was the right war or anything, but the people that were alive in America then, they re-elected Nixon with 49 states. That's amazing. Okay, that's how popular it was. And the war movement, the anti-war movement, the anti-Vietnam movement was funded by the Soviet Union. And in this country, in our post-9/11 world, the enemies of America have been using as a tool against us, which is one of our greatest assets as Americans. Americans, we are a nation of immigrants. We love diversity, and they use diversity against us. And they infiltrate our government and our universities with radical and oftentimes terrorists. Listen to this, AP. Oh, by the way, I was reading a story this morning on X. AP's been banished, right, from Trump's orbit, and they were desperate to get in the press van. According to a poster on Twitter, on X over the weekend, they were trying to get in the press van going to the golf course with the president, and they weren't allowed. But anyway, AP, immigration agents arrest Palestinian activist who helped lead the Columbia University protest. And, these protests, I'll get into the details of the story, but these protests at Columbia for years has been a hotbed for radical Islamic activity. Remember, they had Ahmadinejad. Didn't he speak at Columbia when he was president of Iran? And they welcomed him. They put out that red carpet. They were so excited. And when after the Palestinians on October 7th did what they did in Israel, that god-awful massacre and the rapes and the murders and all of that, and the kidnappings and everything, the Palestinians, they started these protests at Columbia that were so frightening that Jews were hiding their identity. I saw Jews on television and online. They were not wearing their Star of Davids. They were afraid that as Jews they'd be targeted. And what they did was turn Columbia University into 1933 Germany or Gaza. And the idea that we have these Islamic Muslim terrorist activists in this country, especially in New York City, in this post 9/11 world we're in, it's pretty twisted. But we've got Americans running America again. AP reports federal immigration authorities arrested a Palestinian activist on Saturday who played a prominent role in Columbia University's protest against Israel, a significant escalation in the Trump administration's pledge to detain and deport student activist. Mahmoud, how do you pronounce his name? Kalalalel? I'm not sure. We'll just call him Mahmoud by his first name. A graduate student at Columbia until this past December was inside his university-owned apartment Saturday night when several immigration and custom enforcement agents entered and took him into custody. His attorney, a woman by the name of Amy Greer, another one of these social justice liberal do-gooders, said that she spoke by phone with one of the ICE agents during the arrest, who said they were acting on State Department orders to revoke Mahmoud's student visa. Informed by the attorney that Mahmoud was in the United States as a permanent resident with a green card, the immigration agent said they were revoking that. So he got his green card revoked. You can't get over here, get a green card, and then start having Nazi rallies in New York City. A spokesman for Homeland Security confirmed his arrest on Sunday, describing it as being in support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism. Mahmoud's arrest is the first publicly known deportation effort under Trump's promised crackdown on students who joined protests against the war in Gaza that swept college campuses last spring. He did more, okay? This is more than just protest. They were threatening the lives of Jews. These were some of the most ugly hate protests I have ever seen in my life. You know, we had virtually wiped out anti-Semitism in America, and the liberals have brought it back in the last few years. The Trump administration said participants forfeited their rights to remain in the country by supporting Hamas. That's right. You can't be a foreigner here as a visitor on a visa and lead protest against American citizens in favor of terrorists. The arrest was a direct result of his role in the protest. And, Hamas is funding, in Iran, is funding these protests. ICE agents arrived at Mahmoud's Manhattan residence Saturday night. They also threatened to arrest his wife, who's an American citizen and 8 months pregnant. So he's trying to get that anchor baby thing going on. His attorney said they were informed that he was being held at an immigration detention center in New Jersey, but when his wife tried to visit on Sunday, she learned he was not there. Mahmoud's attorney said she doesn't know his whereabouts as of last night. Well, check Syria, Gaza, Tehran, okay, Egypt. We've not been able to get any more details about why he's being detained. He's leading pro-terrorist events at Columbia. That's why. A Columbia University spokesperson said law enforcement agents must produce a warrant before entering university property, but declined to say if the school had received one ahead of Mahmoud's arrest. In a message on X, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the Trump administration will be revoking the visa and or green cards of Hamas supporters in America so that they can be deported. Exactly. And that should be done. What would happen? You think you can go to these other countries, get a visa, and protest in favor of the enemies of that country? No. Homeland Security can initiate deportation proceedings against green card holders for a broad range of criminal activity, including supporting a terror group. Remember, Hamas is a terrorist organization. So, you can't go out and support foreign terrorist organizations when you're a visitor in this country. Now, if you're an American citizen, you have the right to be stupid and do this, I guess, under the First Amendment. But if you're a visitor to our country on a visa, you're out. This should have been going on after 9/11, on September 12th and beyond. But none of our leaders have had the guts to do what President Trump is doing. The detention of legal permanent resident, but the detention of a legal permanent resident who has not been charged with a crime marked an extraordinary move with an uncertain legal foundation, according to immigration experts. See, what they want to do, you put them in a detention center, they get some ACLU attorney, they tie this up in court for years and hope the next administration will let them out. And Trump and his team, they're not messing around. This has the appearance of a retaliatory action against someone who represented an opinion the Trump administration doesn't like, says the founder of Immigrant ARC, a coalition of legal services and legal providers in New York. Mahmoud received a master's degree from Columbia School of International Affairs last summer. Oh, my goodness. He served as a negotiator for students as they bargained with Columbia University officials over an end to the tent encampment erected on campus last spring. That's where they had the Hamas camp. The role made him one of the most visible activists in support of Hamas, prompting calls from pro-Israel activists in recent weeks for the Trump administration to begin deportation proceedings against him. He was also among those under investigation by a new Columbia University office that has brought disciplinary charges against dozens of students for their pro-Palestinian activism. The investigations come as the Trump administration follows. Okay, it goes on and on. This should have always been going on. This should have always been going on. And this is, I remember the first time something like this happened, I was appalled by this, was with the flying imams. Remember the flying imams? I don't remember exactly what year this was, but it was just a couple years, it was not that long after 9/11. And these imams in full imam clothing were at a terminal gate waiting to board a plane and started praying in Arabic. And some of the passengers were scared that they thought they might be hijackers. And passengers actually went to the gate attendants for the airline and reported them. Well, the imams, known as the flying imams, not only sued the airline, they sued passengers that reported them, and they won. You know, there's been too much of coddling of America's enemies in our country. And if you look, I got the universities, not just Columbia, but the university system of this country is where they are the most active. And this is how the revolutionaries of the world have done this. You know, the Cuban Revolution started at the University of Havana. Okay? So they're modeling themselves after Fidel Castro when they target Columbia and others. And they're so active and have been so active in these universities. You know, the Columbia School of Journalism is where most of the mainstream national media people are educated. And most of them have gone through this anti-Semitic, pro-terrorist university system. And that's one of the reasons we have so much anti-American and anti-Israel bias in the media. All right. We're going to take our first break of the second hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian Craig. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in less than a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Stand by. We're coming back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's Monday morning, a very happy MAGA Monday. And, you know, with this time change, oh, man, it's still like in the 6 o'clock hour in all of our bodies, isn't it? Absolutely. Oh, man. Are you feeling it? I don't know about the time. You know, I don't care about the time change. It's, you know, I'd rather get lighter earlier, but, you know, I can't get my mind focused on that when Donald Trump's saving America. All right, let's go to the phones. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, man, I mean, that's a good report. I'm so glad that we're finally doing something. We got these damn people coming from other countries to disturb our country. If they don't like it here, go home. That's all. Go home, go back and protest in your own country.
I mean, think about it. On September 12th, if we would have said walking distance from ground zero, there's going to be Islamic terrorist activists that are Muslims from Islamic countries that are not even U.S. citizens protesting down the street, you would have said, we're nuts. That'll never happen in New York. And now look.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is great. I'm glad they did it. I guess all the years they don't want to get involved because they know some damn lawyer is going to come in and say, "Oh no."
Really, by the time the lawyer figures out where he is, he's going to be in Syria or someplace, wherever his home country is. He's going to be back before they find out where he is. And so far as being separated from his American wife and anchor baby, they can fly to wherever he lives, and she can live the rest of her life in a burqa.
That's why she should marry him, have his kids. She knows what he's all about, and she should realize that. I guess they never figured, oh no, they will never kick us out. You could do what you want because you got a green card. But no, now he's gone. And
you know, I would not even be surprised. I don't know anything about the wife, but I would not be surprised if she's an anti-Israeli liberal Jew. Liberal Jews oftentimes side with the terrorists that are trying to kill them. Would you be surprised?
Yeah. I would say certainly. You know, they said birds of a feather fly together. You know, certainly. Yeah. She's got it most likely. I mean, there's always a family that sometimes. Disagree.
That's true. All right, well, I appreciate the call, Doug. All right, take care, Doug. Good call today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sherilyn from Texas.
Hey, Texas, speak up.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with Islam as per se, but I think the problem is that a lot of people think, okay, it's all cultures are equal, everything's lovey-dovey. Most of these people don't realize, you know, my best friend is from Iran. He's like my brother. But a lot of these, they don't speak up enough. The people who are in Islam, they say, oh, that's not us. The terrorist is not us. But when that's all they say, it's not us. But then they never can really condemn the actions because they're fine with them killing, but then they don't ever speak up.
It's not us. You know, listen, here's the thing. I mean, I'm not in the Marines, but I support the Marines, right? So you don't have to be one of the guys to, here's the thing. I have met I had a professor in college who was born in Nazi Germany. All right? But of course her father wasn't a Nazi. He was in the German resistance. You know, there were no Nazis. They all say, "Oh, we were the resistance. We were no Nazis." There's a lot of that going on. No, American culture is the best. It's number one, and
absolutely.
We don't want to turn America into England, which has been conquered by the Islamists.
Well, that was their goal. I mean, for pretty much, it's in their mandate. You know, it's I've read the Quran, I've read the Hadith. It's in their mandate to go out and conquer, force people to Islam. And so the people that say that's not us, well, actually they're following the true interpretation of the religion. My friend doesn't, and he's actually converted from Islam as of about 2 years ago. And so before 9/11, I used to work at a very large airport, DFW, and this is when we first started being friends. And we went to the employee bathroom at DFW Airport, and it was like something out of Death Row, written on all the walls, and only employees can use these bathrooms. There's written "Death to America," "America must pay." It was all over the walls.
Yeah.
And these were only written by employees at the airport.
That's scary.
And I asked him, hey, man, what is that? He goes, oh, man, those are just crazy people. I don't think like that. And this is when we first started being friends and stuff like that. And I was just like, it was, and this was before 9/11. And then after 9/11, I was like, how many people have access to these planes? And it just blew my mind. And I was just like, man, and it made me think back to what I saw in the bathroom. But something else I wanted to talk about, I don't know how Ukraine became the darling of the world, and I don't know how Zelensky became this basically this new way of looking at how leaders should be.
He's a demigod. He's a demigod. He's, you know.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of little friends I debate with, and I go, okay, so Zelensky had a meeting with Trump. He talked about how his people are dying in the streets, which they are. His soldiers are fighting for fighting for their lives and fighting for their country, which they are. But can you tell me another wartime president, while their country is being invaded and their people are dying in the streets, has found time to travel the world, hang out with celebrities, take photo ops, first-class travel, eating at the finest restaurants, fine dining,
and buy crypto?
Yeah. He has to go to the Oscars. The Oscars denied him. He's hanging out with Sean Penn. It's just, and I go,
Ben Stiller.
And why he's telling everybody we need help, and his people are dying in the street. He should be in his own country leading his people, but he's not. He's more interested in being a celebrity than actually being a leader.
And he's wearing a Halloween costume.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like that one movie with they're making fun of like Noel Gallagher. It was that guy that played Borat. He was playing a spy.
Oh yeah. But Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Well, listen, I gotta run, but thanks for the call from Texas. All right, take care. Good call. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're gonna take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. I'm just answering DMs and texts. 1 minute. We'll be back in 1 minute. We are over the halfway mark. The show is flying by on this Monday, I must tell you. Although I'm not too crazy about the time. Whenever we change the clocks, I can feel it a little bit. You guys feel it? I mean, it's 7:35, but our bodies think it's 6:35. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. You know, this time change, everyone debates the time change. And I said earlier I don't really mind it, but, you know, it's 35 minutes after 7:36 now. But it feels like it's 6:36 in the morning, right? And I'm kind of feeling it a little bit today. I didn't notice it yesterday, but today I'm kind of feeling it. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
From Harlem?
You're on the air.
Renee from Harlem?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was on.
You're on.
Well, I was hearing you spewing your lies over the hour. I want to clear something up. You think you have a large black following. I want to reassure you. We are not following you. We are monitoring you.
Oh.
We hate your guts, okay? And we're monitoring you so you can spew up and make some racist comments so we can get you canceled.
Okay.
I want you to know that for sure. All right? Now, I can turn you into a Muslim overnight. I can guarantee you I'll turn you into a Muslim.
Yeah, how's that?
Well, if I was to tell you that the people that you hold so lowly as slaves, as less than human, are actually God's chosen people, you'll turn yourself into a Muslim tomorrow.
I don't even understand what you're saying. There's nothing
Read
you could.
your Bible.
There's
Open
nothing.
Your Bible,
there's
go through Revelation.
There's nothing.
Listen.
No, you listen. Okay, I don't mind.
Well, then you don't want to know.
No, I don't mind. Excuse
stupid.
me. I don't mind people calling that are jerks, that are rude, that take issue. You're making.
Well, that's you.
But slow down. You're making threats against me. You don't want to let me talk. Yeah, what you started with. You were threatening me.
Little white boy, you feel threatened.
Now you're using racial slurs. I mean, you're a
racist.
You're just not a decent person.
You're a racist, and I'm calling you out on it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, take care. I'm hanging up on you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, turn down the volume of whatever you're listening to me on in the back.
I'll turn it off. How's that? Yeah, Wilkerson's still on.
I know, you got to turn down the volume.
All right. Hey, it's Frenchie from Stewart, Martin County. I called last Friday about deporting these things, and you said they hadn't started yet, and they still hadn't started yet, really. Now they've started, and this is going to stop all these protests.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're running around this country. I mean, look, AOC had a senior staffer who was an illegal alien who was working for her, right? And he just self-deported. And it's been in the news a lot over the weekend. She knew he was an illegal, and I'm sure he self-deported because he didn't want to get arrested and deported, because then he'd never be able to re-enter the United States again, or forever how many years. So, we have right. There's a lot of foreigners, some legal, some not, that are over here causing mayhem.
Yeah, but besides the mayhem stuff, this is going to prove a point to the illegals that are here that came up through Mexico. It makes them go back on by themselves, too.
Well, AOC had a senior staff member that's been with her for a few years, okay? An illegal alien, and she knew he was illegal. He bragged about it, and somehow he was working in the United States House of Representatives. It's been a lot of coverage over him this weekend because he's self-deported.
Yeah.
All right, I got to run because there's a lot of noise in the background there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Ryan. I'm from Indiana. How are you?
All right. What's up?
I was just looking to see where exactly do you draw the line between support for Palestine and support for Hamas?
There's no difference. It's the same thing.
Is it? I mean, I understand wanting to keep foreign people that are in the country from supporting a terrorist organization. But I mean, the country, there is a country of Palestine. Right. I mean, and you have to make that distinction.
No,
it's very
I don't have to do.
No,
you're not right, and I don't have to do anything. Listen. Here's the thing. Okay. How old are you?
I'm not comfortable answering that question.
What do you mean?
But,
you're not comfortable answering. I'm 53. What's wrong? What's wrong with your age?
It's a little bit of a personal question.
It's not a personal question. Nobody knows who you are. But the reason I ask you your age, pathetic. The reason I ask your age is because I would find out what your worldview is, and I just don't think you're old enough to understand what's going on. Why does Israel? Why does Israel?
Do you know how Israel was formed? I mean, do you know how Palestine was formed?
Why does Israel exist?
What did you say?
Why does Israel exist?
The UN formed a resolution to put.
Yeah, but why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Because of the Holocaust.
Correct. That's right.
So I do know a little bit, right?
A little itsy bitsy bit.
Palestine started a war and invaded Israel.
No,
Israel
Palestine did not start a war. There's no Palestine. Okay, there's no Palestine.
Okay, I don't think that's true though.
Saying there's a Palestine is like saying there's a Navajo nation that takes up a big part of the territory that's the United States. No, listen.
But there was before the U.S. took
well, there's
it over,
not now.
Right?
Very few. No, the original people of Israel are the Jews. It's in our Bible. God gave the Jews the land of Israel. That was before the Muslims.
But the Canaanites were in Israel before.
Listen,
right?
the reason
there's always people there.
Well,
before,
God, I think
right?
I listen to what God says. not some lefty lunatic.
Okay. All right. Beyond that. Israel being allies. I was in the Navy personally, and I'm sure you know about the attack on the USS Liberty, where 34 sailors were killed in a coordinated attack by Israel.
That's nonsense.
Where they went dark and sent fighter jets and torpedo boats. This is not a good ally.
No. Excuse me. You were in that. What'd you do in the Navy?
I was a nuclear electronics technician.
A nuclear electronics electrician. Okay. So what does that make you? Some expert on the USS Liberty?
No, it means I studied Navy history.
You studied Navy. Where did you study that?
Yeah.
What did you study that? The Adolf Eichmann
just
School of Government?
Free time. I mean, I like reading books about naval history. I like
reading books
things.
about naval. If you read a book about naval history, if the USS Liberty incident is in it, it would be described as a friendly fire incident, which is quite common.
But they went dark, refused calls to hail. It was very clearly a friendly
fire
coordinated
incident.
Attack.
Why would they?
Right.
Why? Excuse me. Why? I want you to just play this out. In your mind, Israel has no greater ally than the United States since they were founded in 1948. Okay, why would Israel launch an attack on the United States?
To bring the United States into the war.
What war?
It's a very easy the war that was going on. Like there was 5 countries attacking Israel.
The reason
was getting support from the U.S.
The United States has always given
support. They weren't willing to join the war, and they were trying to get to join the war.
Excuse me. What do you study? The Fiery Cross? I mean, my goodness, Mein Kampf. What are
you talking about? I haven't said anything anti-Semitic.
Everything you say is anti-Semitic about this. This is the USS Liberty conspiracy is anti-Semitic. But here's the deal.
There were congressional hearings on this.
I don't
care.
Like
some conspiracy.
All right. We got it, Mike. You got to hit the dump. I mean, got to hit the dump for the first time today, Mike. That's the way it is. The countries that Trump wants to deport all the people of Gaza to is where the Palestinians live. Most of them are in Syria. There are in other countries too, Jordan and Egypt. But throughout the Middle East, there's Palestinians. The only reason there are Palestinians in Gaza and around Israel is to kill Jews and harass Jews. That's it. Okay? Israel... If you want to go by the UN establishment, I go by God. But if you want to go by the United Nations establishment in 1948, is a place where a homeland for Jews to go for safety. Because when the Germans took over Europe and were rounding up the Jews, the countries of the world, including Democrat Franklin Roosevelt, would not take in the Jews from Europe. Okay? They wouldn't. They had nowhere to go. So in 1948, Israel was set up so that Jews had a safe place to go from being exterminated. And what's happened? The leftists, the Democrats, the lunatics, they set up the Palestinians in Gaza. They have them all around. They give them legitimacy. They used to send Arafat money. The United States under Biden has been supporting Hamas and supporting Iran, who are behind this. And they have one mission and one mission only, and that is to kill Jews. They don't want them there. They don't belong there. The Palestinians, it's a fake issue. They are just there to harass and kill Jews. That's it. Now, the USS Liberty, as sad as of an incident that was, it was a friendly fire, very unfortunate incident. Why would Israel attack a U.S. military vessel? Look what it's led to. Idiots like that doesn't want to. He'll tell us he's a nuclear engineer on his ship, but he won't tell us how old he is. I'm suspect of everything, but unfortunately, he used some salty language, which did not allow me to do the proper handling of the call. All right, we're going to take our last break of the second hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this.
all I know is this: we're going to take.
All right, we'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. All right, stand by. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It is a very strange MAGA morning with this time change. I didn't think I minded it too much, but now I'm starting not to like it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Yuki Danielson from Hawaii, formerly from New York City.
Yuki from Hawaii. Okay.
Show. Yes, in Honolulu. I really love your show. I support it. I always try to look you up on YouTube and Rumble. There was a comment about the Liberty, and that from a nuclear Navy guy. I spent 20 years in the Navy. I'm a black man, and I supported Trump. I supported him when he first ran for president. So it's pretty ridiculous. You know, when in Vietnam, when the Maddox was a pretext for getting into Vietnam, you know, sometimes we were wrong on that. But, you know, the Jews, if you're a student of history, I love the Civil War and whatnot, but if you look through the Jews through the Bible and what you see today, the Jews, that's their homeland.
That's right.
And that's through the Bible.
That's right. That's right. That's great. The Bible tells us so. That's true. That's true.
You had this idiot that says, I'm going to convert you to be a Muslim. I think it's I can say it, it's a very evil religion. It's a very evil ideology. And
well, you know, the reality, hey, by the way, I do appreciate the call. You know, the reality of the situation is this, okay? And the Palestinians are only there to harass and kill Jews. I mean, that's it. There's no two-state solution. It's all just to have endless harassment. That's it. You're on the, hold on one second here. Hold on. The phones are ringing off the hook. Let's go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Ronnie Vic W. in West Palm Beach.
Hey,
How
West
you
Palm.
doing?
All right, West Palm. What's up?
Oh, man, it's just blowing my mind this morning. You're a better man than I am because I'm telling you, I would not tolerate that kind of stuff. First of all, I'd like to say you are 100% right. Zelensky did that himself. He had the opportunity to stop the war, and he chose not to. So I agree with you 100%. There, you know, and those people that are calling for those kind of actions, I wish they could just pack up and go to those countries and experience the stuff they are talking. See, they sit here in America and they talk all this stuff, but why don't they pack up and go live in those countries, and then you come back, if you can make it back, and tell us how it is? Because I know one thing about this situation. I prefer my money to be spent here in my country on my people first.
That's right.
And I'm tired of taking care of everybody else out there, and they doing what they want to do.
I mean, I give you an example, right? You're calling from Palm Beach. I'm in Palm Beach County too. You know, you go out to West Palm. I mean, way out to Belglade. I mean, look at the condition Belglade is in right here in the same county as Mar-a-Lago, and we're sending $1 quadrillion to Ukraine. Give me a break.
Come on, I'm telling you, what's wrong with these people? So all these people that are on this stuff that they love, why don't they just pack up and go to the countries that they like? Also, with that being said, I want this lady to be brought to justice for what she has done. They are criminals, nothing but criminals, and they've been running rings around us like no tomorrow. And the end has come because Trump has showed us all the dirt that is going on.
That's
and if
right.
people can't see that, then they need to get what's going down to them.
That's right. That's right. Everything. I agree with everything you said. All right. Well, appreciate the call from Palm Beach. He's right on the money. Well, let's take another call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Tom from Florida.
Yes, Tom.
Yes, we are the saviors of the world. We are Americans. We have done it for a long, long time. America First is not the first time that America has, dealt with this. And
so
also,
I'm a little confused. Don't forget the all. Listen, don't forget the also. I know two thoughts are hard for you to keep track. Don't forget your also. Is America is it not appropriate for the president, whoever they are, to put America first? Isn't that the right thing to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, when it comes to exactly what Marco Rubio is trying to tell Elon Musk is, our ties in America to other countries. I mean, where do you think the biggest stock market, where do you think the stock market came from? Is doing deals around the world. That's why our stock market is so high. It's not just
doing deals around the world.
America.
So you agree that Ukraine is just a financial racket?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Then
First
I don't
who
understand.
invaded who? Okay, and I hate the talking point that, well,
What does-
Zelensky should have known. Putin is a murderer.
Really?
Okay?
So
He
so
blew
who?
up one
So
of his
okay.
own
So
generals
so
on
who?
board the plane with
I mean,
other soldiers.
who
So you're gonna
invaded?
tell me
Excuse
that's
me. Excuse me. Who invaded
Yeah,
Iraq?
who invaded who?
Who invaded Iraq?
Who invaded Iraq?
Who? Yeah, Iraq.
Let's see. Depending on what year you're talking about.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about the.
yeah, what year
I'm
you're
talking about Operation Iraqi Freedom, 2003.
Okay, so you're talking about America.
We invaded Iraq. That's right.
Going into Iraq.
So
yeah, well,
they didn't attack. Are we evil? Are we not Iraq?
Yeah.
Not Iraq. That was from Afghanistan. Oh my
George
goodness.
Bush, I disagreed
So
with
okay,
it
so
at the
so
time,
America's
but we still
evil.
went.
So what's the moral difference between
never
what's the moral difference
I
between
never said
Russia and
Mexico was
America?
evil.
What's the moral difference between the two?
Difference.
A big difference. Yeah. Sadly, you're in this one. Now I want to tell you, I ran into some friends and family that I had not seen in quite some time, and it was very nice. First thing they said is, "Wow, Brian, you've lost so much weight." That's right. They said they noticed it right away how much weight I've lost because they don't see me every day like some of you guys do. People I haven't seen in weeks and even in months. And first thing out of their mouth, "Wow, Brian, you've lost so much weight." And that, of course, is because of Coastal Weight Loss Secret and Dr. Zuckerman. And that feels so good. It really feels so good because I know it's working. I've lost over 25 pounds and I feel great. I'm not doing any exercise. I'm not taking any medication. I'm not doing steps. I'm not eating weirdo foods. I'm not starving myself. I'm just losing weight. About a pound a day. And you can do the same thing as well. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I'm going to give you the number. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back right after this. Wait, okay. Hey, what's up? Okay. All right, I'm going to put you on hold. I'll pick you up in a minute or two. Okay? I'm not sure. Okay, hold on. All right, you there, Steve?
I think so. Am I?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, everybody can hear you on YouTube. We're going to be back in about a minute.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. We're going to be back in about a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, 10 seconds.
Okay.
The third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane joining us. You're listening to, of course, the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio.
Morning?
Good. The show's flying by, even with this new time change. I feel like I just opened up the mic.
I've been listening. It's been what's going. Everything is flying by. I had a bad day yesterday.
What happened?
I was watching television. I was watching Fox all day, and it was disconcerting.
Well, I learned something about Fox yesterday, okay? The afternoons on Fox Sunday. Now, I'm not talking about the mornings and Maria Bartiromo, but Friday afternoons on Fox News Channel it's like MSNBC. It's very anti-Trump. I couldn't believe some of the stupidity I was hearing from John Scott yesterday.
These
nuts.
Are not the mainstream guys, but I mean, I'm just disturbed with a lot of what I've
Everything's
heard. You
going
and I,
well.
The one difference, we have a lot in common, you and I. We both are big fans of Donald Trump, and we put a lot of faith in him, and I put a lot of faith in him. The only difference between you and I is you don't let any of the questions or any of the the things that are negative seep into your consciousness.
There are no negatives.
You just can't. You can't admit mistakes.
What? There's no mistakes or negatives with Trump. What are you talking about?
I mean, where I come from, I sense there's some, to say the very least, some unease about where we're at now. I always assumed. Let me tell you what I assumed, and why yesterday shook me up. I always assumed as this thing developed with the Russians and the Russians and the
Ukrainians.
Ukrainians. Thank you very much. It's early. I'm a little blanked out here.
The time change.
All right, the Russians and the Ukrainians. I assumed that Donald had the Russians and Putin in his pocket.
He does.
And well, yeah, I didn't feel so yesterday.
Why? What happened?
I had the feeling yesterday that Putin pretty much, he's given up on Putin.
What happened? What did I miss?
I don't know.
Because that's not what's happening at all.
Listening to.
Are you talking about the Russian bombing of Ukraine?
Yes.
Oh, Zelensky did that. That's
Zelensky did that?
Well, not alone. The Democrats that got him worked up before he met with Trump did it too. See, if what President Trump was talking,
Trump approve it? Did Trump approve of it?
No, but he explained it a couple days ago. He said that the Ukrainians won't agree to a truce, a ceasefire, and and Putin's trying to bomb the Ukrainian people to put it into putting pressure on Zelensky to end the war. Zelensky, if Zelensky would have signed the mineral deal and agreed to the ceasefire at the White House, none of this would be happening. Zelensky and those Democrats that got him worked up against Trump before the White House meeting, they're all responsible for this.
Well, the Democrats, you and I are going to agree 100% about Democrats. It's unbelievable. I mean, the bottom line with the Democrats is they'll sabotage the whole country rather than let Donald Trump have a success.
That's right.
And that's what we're dealing with here. Did they pass the budget?
The budget's not a problem. That's all done. And President Trump, he was telling he was telling Bartiromo in that great interview yesterday that the tax bill's coming next. You know, the no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security.
I mean, if that doesn't come in,
it's all coming in. It's all coming in. They got the continuing resolution thing, and then they're going to get the tax cut bill is coming, and extending or maybe even making permanent the Trump tax cuts. Oh, everything's going according to plan.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. Everything's going according to plan. Everything's going perfectly. I don't understand what you're talking about. Things are going well.
You've given a very good example of exactly what I'm talking about.
The only problem is Zelensky.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me. Well, that's a big problem, Zelensky.
Well, you know, 1 second, Steve. Hold on. Our phones are ringing. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong line there. Our phones are ringing off the hook. Zelensky. If Zelensky would have signed the mineral deal and agreed to the ceasefire, none of this would be happening right now.
He didn't.
So that's why. And this is Putin's response. What's he supposed to do?
Well, if he's in Donald's pocket like I thought he was, he would back off and wait for Donald to...
Putin wants peace.
Do his magic.
Putin wants peace. He wants the war over. It's Zelensky who won't let it be over.
All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you are. I think you might be.
And by the way, the other thing we should talk about, if we get a chance in the remaining hour, so much going on, but these riots, because that's what they are. It's no longer student demonstrations or anything like that. This is way beyond the violence I saw yesterday is way beyond anything we had last year in these calls, self-labeled college demonstrations.
Well, that's fine too, because I was talking in the last hour. They just deported. Homeland Security just rounded up and is deporting the top Hamas student leader at Columbia.
The big guy.
You know, so they're rounding them up. So all the leaders. Hold on, let me get through some of these calls. All right, do you want to take some calls, Steve? What do you want to do?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Yes.
All right, let's go. Let's go here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Eugene Danielson from Hawaii.
All right, Eugene. We're big in Hawaii today. What's up?
Hey, I really appreciate your show. I'm really happy that you exist for people who are listening. And you talked about the protests with Hamas, and I really feel, and I've been in the Navy 20 years, retired. I'm originally hailed from New York City, Queens. I moved to Hawaii after I retired. And, growing up, we never had situations like that. Yeah, we had protests, stuff like that. But, against the Jews, if people study the Bible, they know that the Jews, that's their land.
That's right.
And they had no business trying to remove them.
That's correct.
And every time they tried to destroy him, you could go back to 1959, the Six-Day War, and God has miraculously protected them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Palestinians don't get it.
No, they get it. They get it. Listen, they get it. It's just, they hate Jews. It's like you're trying to negotiate a two-state solution between blacks and the Ku Klux Klan. Some things just can't be done and shouldn't even be attempted.
Yeah, and then with the covering, the rag covering of their faces, it just reminds me of the Ku Klux Klan being a black man.
I'll tell you. Wait a minute. Let me just get a word in. Are you there, sir?
Yes.
Sir, are you there?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, I just want to say, but I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, I thought that when Donald said on two occasions in the last 2 weeks that if Hamas didn't give up and give back the hostages, all hell would break loose. Does that term sound familiar to you?
It's happened.
Caller, are you there?
All right, I guess we lost we lost the line from Hawaii, but Steve, Israel.
Wait a minute. Then let me finish this with you.
Okay.
Well, I didn't see it happen.
It hasn't
see it happen.
It hasn't been reported in the mainstream yet, but the Israelis shut off all the electricity to Gaza.
Well, and so the hostages are back?
Well, that's the beginning of it. That's the big. Obviously, it's the beginning of a major action. They shut off the electricity, and now they're gonna make a move.
Well,
the all hell breaking loose part is about. That's about to happen.
When you hold on, let me just clarify this. So you're saying when Don said, "All hell's going to break loose," on 2 occasions, giving a 12 o'clock deadline the next day when he did it, you're saying that was.
I'm saying it's about to happen. The Israelis shut off the electricity, obviously in advance of.
Is that what he was referring? Okay, so you're saying that when Don said we're gonna all hell will break loose, he was referring to turning off the electricity.
No. The electricity. No, what I'm saying is they turn off the electricity in advance of some major military action. It's the beginning of them getting ready to make a move. They're going to first they're going to see what their reaction is, and then all hell will break loose. You turn off the electricity first, see if they sweat it out and get the message, and then boom, they're going to go in and do something. It's the beginning of an action.
Okay, all right, you answered my question.
So I'm
not sure I buy your answer, but
well, All right, I'm gonna put you on hold. Callers on hold. You all stand by. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. We were going to have you on today because we missed the other day. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Hold on. All right, 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. We'll be back. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, I got Barry Siegel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm gonna go to Barry Siegel out of the break. Do you want me to bring you in on that, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, bring me in on it.
Okay. All right.
Brian, are you there?
Yeah, but everybody can hear you on YouTube, so we got just over a minute.
Just call me after the show.
Okay. We got a minute. We'll be back. Okay, I'm going to conference him in now. Hold on. Hey, Barry, we're not back yet. We're going to be back in 30 seconds, all right?
Okay.
All right, stand by. All right, 10 seconds.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here, and it's time to check in with attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Hey, Barry, how's it going on this Monday morning with this weird time change?
Yeah, it takes a little getting used to.
Oh, man.
Nice to talk to you, Brian. Nice to talk to you, Steve. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
Always.
Great weekend.
Great. So today I wanted to talk about the fact that there's a big secret out there, and what I've been trying to do, for years on your show and in other places, is let people know about this secret, and that is you don't have to spend down your assets and go broke if you or a loved one need care at home, care in a facility such as an assisted living facility, or even in a nursing home. All of those situations, while they're unfortunate that the person even needs the care, beyond that, they're so expensive that for most people, it could be debilitating to their assets, where they could end up being in a completely different situation than they were before they became ill. And the big secret is you don't have to spend down your assets. You don't have to go broke. You could protect your assets and still have government benefits pay for that care. What we're all thinking is, well, gee, I heard of this. He's talking about that Medicaid thing. Yeah, I am talking about that Medicaid thing. And, of course, the first thing that people think of is, well, Medicaid is for people who are poor, people who are impoverished, and then they think, well, gee, I have too much income, I have too much assets, or both. I'm not going to qualify, so I'm not going to even listen to this. And that could be a huge mistake, because this is going to be for most people. Most people are going to be able to qualify for this and not have to spend down their assets and not go broke or leave their spouse broke. So that's why people need to come to one of our seminars or come in and schedule a free consultation with us to learn more about how your situation will work and how we will be able to get you or your loved one qualified.
Yeah, when I went to your workshop a couple weeks ago, I was shocked. People don't assume you got too much money, too many assets. Go call the Siegel Law Group. I was shocked. Pretty much everybody almost qualifies for it. I mean, Donald Trump would not qualify, okay? but most everybody I know would qualify. I was really amazed. It's always a no charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard attorney Barry Siegel on the program, his number, and he can help you. The Siegel Law Group can help you no matter where you are in the state of Florida. His number, toll free, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, you gentlemen have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, we are back, Steve, with you and I.
Can I read you one thing out of the New York Post? Today's New York Post, page 8, for those that have a Post handy. They quote Donald Trump as saying that even with U.S. aid, that the Ukrainians may not survive.
Well, then Zelensky better get to sign the deal.
It's fine by me. Don't look at me. I'm just reporting what's in the New York Post.
Yeah, he's telling. It would have been over if it's been a week and a half since Zelensky acted like a jerk at the White House. Right now, this morning, he may already be there. This morning, early, Marco Rubio flew to Saudi Arabia for the peace talks with the Russians. Eventually, we're going to come out of this, and Rubio is going to tell Trump, and Trump's going to come out. They got a deal. Zelensky just has to sign it.
Well, I know they'd reached an agreement from what I read yesterday in the paper, but it doesn't sound like It looks like good this morning.
As we speak,
the New York Post.
They're as you and I are speaking, Marco Rubio is on a jet plane on the way to Saudi Arabia for the Russian summit to end the war in Ukraine. Right now, as we are talking, the plane may already be there. I saw early.
Let's see what our callers think.
Okay, most of the callers today seem to hate the Jews, though. Have you noticed that? There's been a lot of that on the line this morning. I don't know where that's coming from.
When in doubt,
Yeah, exactly.
The Jews are the old reliable. Beat up on the Jews.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie. Good morning, Brian. Good morning,
Hey,
Steve.
Rich.
How are you this morning?
Here's a
We're going to see a lot
to the argument.
Well, you see, the cutting off of the electricity is a very important thing because it's cutting off the electricity to the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to smoke them out. But the thing is, once they smoke them out, they're going to put their civilian clothes on because probably 85% of that population are Hamas.
Well,
I mean,
you guys had the tunnels in Vietnam. I mean, it's not a perfect thing, but they're running their whole operation in these tunnels that are now dark.
Right. Not only dark, no air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting very hot down there. So they're going to smoke them out. But the problem, I tell you, Brian, is that they're all Hamas.
But then the Israelis are going to flood the tunnels so they can't return.
But they're going to be on the street, okay? And they're in the population. What I'm trying to say is the population of that particular area hate Jews, have been raised to hate Jews and kill Jews.
Yes.
That's all they do. That's their job.
Yeah.
And they're all out there. And you got all the Arab nations going against Trump because they insist they don't want to take them off of that land. And I'm telling you right now, there is absolutely no way that Israel or anyone else could put these people back in Gaza. I don't care if you build the Eiffel Tower there and you put the Statue of Liberty. As long as these people are still on that property, Israel's going to have to live in hell for the next 50 years. So the only way this is going to work is to get them off of that land like Trump wanted to start with. But all the Arab countries are against Trump.
Richie, in light of the two statements in the last week or two that Donald has made about all hell breaking loose, if they don't come around and them not,
you know what hell broke? You know what hell broke loose? Yeah, you know what the hell's broke loose, Steve?
The air conditioner.
No, the hell's broke. No, the hell's broke loose. Not only in Columbia University, because Brian shrugs it all off. It's all over the world, man. I watch all the time. There's stabbings, riots, and everything going on all over the place. London, Germany, every day, all over the world. Australia. These Arabs, Palestinians, the Jews to the sea is gone all over the world. This is a major movement against the Jewish state. And President Trump is he's given mixed emotions, whether Brian wants to admit it or not. He's had negotiators in there basically doing what Biden did, undercutting Netanyahu. But Netanyahu has to shut his mouth because it's his last straw. You can't go against President Trump. Brian's never going to go against President Trump. I mean, I listen to this, and sometimes I say to myself, you can't follow anyone blindly. I trust President Trump, but I don't follow him blindly. Brian does. And to me, that's a major problem, Steve. Can I give you an example, Steve? What Brian did last week, he misquoted somebody and spent time knocking him. Ben Shapiro, I'm going to bring that up, Brian. You never came back and said I made a mistake, have you?
About what?
Brian came on the radio.
What did I say?
Brian came on the radio and said, never trusted, never Trump. Ben Shapiro said that Trump is going to pardon Chauvin. Never happened. You must have read an article and didn't see these.
No, I heard him say it. No. He did
what did he say?
a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago. I can't remember when. I heard him say it. Ben Shapiro on his podcast was talking about. He didn't say Trump was going to pardon Chauvin. He was talking.
But that's what you no.
No, he was He said he should. He should.
That's right, but you never said that.
Yes, what I said. I did. I did say that.
He said he should because the fact of the matter is that he was railroaded. But what I'm going to say,
it wouldn't get him out of prison, though. It wouldn't get him out of prison, and that's and Ben. This is the thing with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's out. Nobody's talking about him anymore, and he's doing a lot of things to try to inject himself into the news cycle. And this Derek Chauvin was one of them.
They're rated number 5 podcast.
Nobody's talking about him. I follow this. Nobody is quoting them or talking about them. And he got a seat at the State of the Union. He did a big publicity thing at the CPAC. He's desperate for attention. They had a lot. They lost their.
He loves Trump. He loves Trump.
He's a liar. Ben Shapiro.
That's what I'm saying.
Ben Shapiro had 2 big controversies. He lost his 2 heavy hitters, Candace Owens and then Brett Cooper. And they've had a devastating exodus from their entire Daily Wire platform, and he's desperate to get it back. So he's doing things like that to inject himself.
Steve, what about this new guy in Canada? Brian's right on the dime there. This guy was against Brexit. He was over there in favor of Cameron. This guy is a slick politician, and he's going to try to fight President Trump with the tariffs. He's
all right, Richie. We got to run for our.
Richie, who's your money on?
Trump.
Always.
Me too.
Always bet on Trump. All right, Richie. We got to run. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. All the callers on hold. You hang in there. We'll be right back. you're on hold, hang in there. One thing, trusting Pence, Brian asked. Trusting Pence in his first term. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes.
All right, 1 minute. Thirty seconds. All right, 10. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here with us. Oh, man. The show's flying by. Great calls today, Steve, I got to say, for a Monday.
Yes, they're good. They're good.
Well, you know, we've got a high-quality audience. Do you know, Steve, we are 19 days away from our cruise? Isn't it?
That's close.
It's that I'm going to pack this weekend just to make sure I have everything. But, you know, this is going to be, we are coming up, and I just realized this morning, we're coming up on the 3rd anniversary of you being rid of neuropathy from Lighthouse Medical.
That's right. Absolutely.
Because we had gotten that, you had neuropathy so bad you couldn't even hardly get out of bed, and it was I think 3 cruises ago. You said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. I got this neuropathy. And we found Lighthouse Medical, and they rid you of your neuropathy going on 3 years ago now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they do a great job. And other people I've been to, other doctors that I've been to had told me that forget about it. There's nothing you can do about neuropathy. It's a horrible thing that afflicts many, many millions of people actually in the country. And thank the Lord, you found Lighthouse.
I did. I found Lighthouse Medical, and and this will be the 3rd cruise you've gone on since you were rid of your neuropathy from Lighthouse Medical, and and the reason I highlight this is not only does Lighthouse Medical have a treatment for neuropathy that works and rids you of your neuropathy symptoms, but it lasts, right? I mean, that's amazing. I'm going to give you the number. When you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, because then you get to take advantage of the no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. All right. We have just, 2 openings on the board. You want to take more calls? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's do the phones.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Jessica, West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jessica.
Good. Hi, good morning. I agreed with 2 of your callers from Hawaii, Brian, and I also agree with everything that you're saying, Brian. When it comes to Zelensky, he is at fault. He doesn't want to sit down. He is the one killing his own people. To me, he's a terrorist, Zelensky. I also agree with your Jewish stand. The Bible tells us that land belonged to Jewish. Even Jesus Christ was Jewish.
That's right.
So that land, listen, if we go back to history, when that land was supposedly be given to Jewish, and it was called Israel in 1949 by the UN, what was there before the UN made that resolution? What was there?
It was
there was nothing there.
Well, no, it's not exactly true. It was called Palestine. It was a
Okay, but
it was
guess what
it was a
happened? But what
colony
was-
of England.
But what was happening there? What was that area, Brian, has been in turmoil
Oh, yeah.
forever.
Oh, yeah.
Forever. So Israeli people were given this place because they were being dislocated or displaced by Germany and everywhere around the world. And what did they do with that piece of land? They turned it into what? They turned it into a prosperous country, into a country where people are living in peace, between quotes. And because they were so prosperous and have been so prosperous, they have opened their door against their own enemy living next door, Palestine. Because even inside Israel, there were a lot of Palestinians living in peace inside Israel. It means that even the Jewish people in Israel have been lenient and compassionate and empathetic towards the same people that have been trying to kill them forever.
Well, listen,
Okay?
this you make some good points. Hey, thanks for the call. Steve, that deportation of that Hamas student leader at Columbia is the beginning of
he's a
something
biggie.
big. Yeah, it's the beginning of something big because he's not going to be the only one. And by the time
Oh no! In fact, it's no more demonstrations or anything. This is like a rebellion. I mean, this is like a riot.
Yeah.
The violence is nothing like the last one.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue through the summer.
Yeah.
They've taken the last year to organize and, to borrow a phrase from the Donald, all hell is going to break loose this summer. I just have a feeling.
Well, and then they're also the Trump administration cut off how many hundreds of millions of dollars from Columbia? It was like they have the Columbia University is actually helping Homeland round up these agitators, these terrorist supporters, because they're cutting off their federal funding to the university too. And by the way, that federal funding includes the student loans, and I bet you it cost a lot of money to go to Columbia.
If you're big on this issue, which I know you are, Mark Levin, this is one of his favorite topics.
Yeah.
In fact, this weekend there was one of the inspiring things that I saw or that I watched on television. He really has the whole thing down, and he's got the inside track with Trump. He's gotten very close to Trump.
Yeah.
So
okay,
just a little viewing hint for our listeners.
Yeah, no, and don't let anyone tell you things are going bad. Now today, Steve, there's going to be a lot of press coverage about this new Canadian governor, Carney, that's replacing Trudeau. This guy that they got, this new prime minister that's coming in, because Labor Party's
He's
still
he's liberal, right?
not just liberal. He's a climate justice warrior and a social justice warrior. Yeah, he was Canada's representative he was the Canadian envoy to the UN in charge of climate justice. Climate justice. We got to give the climate.
Well, it's pretty.
What? So they got another. So they replaced one liberal lunatic with another liberal lunatic with a different name. I mean, this guy, it's hilarious. And he comes out threatening Trump in the United States right out the gate. This guy's so stupid. Yeah, the Canadians are not up to it.
No. I had great hopes for that, making that the 51st state.
It may happen.
It doesn't look like it right now.
Canada land-wise is bigger than the United States, but they have a small population, okay? And this is the way I would describe it. So this guy Carney, their new prime minister that's coming in, he's about as smart as your average Carney at the carnival. He's talking about raising the tariffs and having a hardcore, full-scale trade war. Canada having a trade war against the United States is about the economic equivalent if Florida had an economic trade war against the United States, right? It's a tiny country with a tiny population, and they're just not up to it. As Trump says now with Zelensky, they don't have the cards. And they're in denial about how small their economy and their country really is. You know, on Saturday, my mother-in-law came over to the house. I hadn't seen my mother-in-law in a while. I saw some other people, too, that had the same reaction. First thing she says, wow, Brian, you've lost a lot of weight. And, yeah. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen you in a while. I saw you at Wings Plus, but for Inauguration Day. But I'd gained some weight since the last cruise. So I don't, but I've lost over 25 pounds, Steve. Over 25 pounds, and I haven't.
That's a ton.
I know, and it's all thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I was talking to Coastal Weight Loss Secret on Friday, and they said, "So what do you want to do? Are you ready to get into you just want to maintain where you're at?" And I said, "I don't know, because I've lost all this weight. I haven't exercised. I'm not taking any medications. I'm not starving myself, and I'm not eating yucky food." You know what I mean? I'm eating something like. So I said, I don't know. I got to think about it for a couple days. Maybe I want to keep going because it's so easy, And when I set that 25-pound goal, I didn't think it was possible. And Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, he said, no. He says, well, when do you want to lose it by? I said, well, our cruise leaves on the 29th. Now, I met him before I went to Wings Plus on Inauguration Day. He said, that's no problem. I said, come on, 25 pounds by March. And I lost the weight almost a month before the date. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to maintain or if I'm going to keep going. I know if I lose much more, I'm going to have to buy a whole new wardrobe. And this is awesome. I mean, I love it. So listen, guys, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. William? Hello? Hello? All right, we are back, and that's that. All right, Steve, you back with us? Oh, hold on. You back with us, Steve? I'll try Steve again. Hold on. All right, Steve, you back with us?
Yes,
I got you. Okay, we are back. Little confusion on my end, but this time change. I wasn't one of these people that took issue with this clock change, but I'm feeling it today.
They keep telling us they're going to do away with daylight savings.
Yeah.
But I don't know that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I just know that by the time I get used to it, it'll be time for the clocks to go back again. I was perfectly fine with the way it was, but we got bigger fish to fry than losing and gaining an hour, springing forward and falling back and all that business. Okay. It's now with all the clocks being electronic, you don't even have to change the clocks anymore. I mean, in the old days, you had to change all the clocks. It was a hassle. You don't have to do that anymore. But you know what I'm looking forward to, Steve? Hold on a second here, because I had missed William Youngerman, and I think this might be him. You're on the air. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, me.
Oh, okay. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to go back to Mr. Kane. All right, Steve. I'm sorry. I was trying to get William Youngerman, and I couldn't get him this morning, so I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my God!
But this is, I know. You know what I was really looking forward to is this. Okay, this is what I'm really looking forward to, like nobody's business. The Democrats have been telling us how damaging taxes are for the last few weeks, right? With the import taxes, right? I mean, like, oh, taxes. You can't raise taxes. You can't have high taxes. You can't raise taxes. It's devastating to the economy. And that's what the Democrats have been telling us for about 2 months now with the import taxes. Well, Trump is about to introduce the tax reduction bill, which does more than no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, but everyone's tax cuts are about to expire from the Trump tax cuts, so they're going to either extend or make those permanent. So when the Democrats have spent 2 months telling us the evil of taxation, what are they going to do when Trump's cutting everyone's taxes? Are they going to stay silent, or are they going to say, you can't raise taxes on Mexico and Canada, but you can on the American people?
You know the answer to that.
They're going to
know the answer to that.
What? They're going to oppose it? They're going to look like idiots.
Of course they're going to. It's not their idea. It's Trump's idea.
They're going to look so stupid, Steve.
Well, worse than they do now.
Yeah, this is going to be a bad one. This is going to be brutal because the Trump tax cuts are set to, I don't know the date when they expire, but they're going to expire. Okay, that means everyone's income taxes are going to go up unless we extend them, and so it's going to be a catch-22 for them. There's no getting around it. All right, let me go and take some of these calls, Steve. One of them may be William Youngerman calling in, okay? That may happen because I couldn't get William during the break, and he may call us, all right? So we'll find out. In fact, it is William Youngerman from the office of William Youngerman Incorporated in, oh, my goodness. No, that's not him. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
IB and Broward.
Hey, IB. Hey, what's up?
Hey, in a nutshell, the last caller, the lady, she said it in a nutshell, but also to answer Steve's question, when you have a bank robbery or kidnap situation, you have to turn off the power. Okay, this is the first ground. Then the Mossad is going to go in and do what they need to do. And like I said, I'm sorry to be the bad guy to say that we will lose some of them, but we must put an end to it. It cannot continue like we had the Iraq War for 20 years.
That's true. All right, IB, I appreciate the call. No luck with William Youngerman, Steve, but we'll talk to him tomorrow. But Steve, when this is going to be such a beautiful thing, okay? Because this new prime minister that's coming in, Carney in Canada, in his acceptance speech, do you know how many votes he got, Steve? I couldn't believe this.
How many votes?
Less than 132,000.
That's not a lot.
No, less than 132,000 because the party just picked him, okay, as their leader, and it's Labor. He's going to come in. He vowed to massively raise our import taxes. I've never seen anyone challenge Trump and win. Have you? I mean, this guy, I want you to think about what happened. How many, they shot him. They tried to shoot him a second time. They arrested him. They got a mug shot. They convicted him of how many trumped up charges? Dozens of charges they brought against him. And he's still standing. I have never, ever, ever seen someone challenge Trump and him not win. Ever. Have you? Can you think of an example?
No, I can't. I agree with you.
I mean, there's some people that you just shouldn't go up against. So whether it's Zelensky, whether it's this new Canadian governor they've got, whether it's Jack Smith breaking into his house, whether it's Obama, whether it's Biden, nothing. No one has ever ever, ever won against Trump. He always wins in the end. So all of these people that are opposing him, the way he's opposing them, it's one of the most self-destructive actions. You know, a lot of times, you know, if you're a halfway intelligent person, you see what I see, what you see. So you want to make a deal. So if you're coming in and you're Zelensky or you're this new Canadian governor they got, Carney, you know you're not going to beat the guy. You know you're not going to beat him. So you make a deal. And if you tell him, I gotta look good to my people, I think Trump would throw you the bone and let you look like you were Butch, like you got something, you know, to get the deal. I think he would throw you something so it looked like you got something. But I don't understand why
up to this point, you've been correct. I mean, you're correct. And I understand his record is perfect, but we're getting into we're in new territory is what I'm saying. And I'm
really
concerned, that's all.
Which issue are you most concerned about?
Well, I'm concerned about the situation with the Russian thing. That's a scary thing. Of course, what's going down recently, and that totally backs up the theory that says the Russians are left to their own devices. Are going to continue to expand. They haven't figured out a way to stop the Russians.
There's a video that is going viral online, and I can't play it because it's not in English, okay? But a Ukrainian soldier who's on the front lines of the war in Ukraine, right? He just lost all his friends to a Russian bombing, all of them. Everyone's gone, and he's the lone survivor. He makes a video, and he's fuming. You know who he's angry at? Who he blames for? Who? Zelensky. He's a Ukrainian soldier. His whole unit got wiped out by this recent Russian bombing that's going on right now. And he's probably going to get arrested, okay? He's probably in big trouble. But the videos...
Zelensky is not popular. I understand that.
The purpose of...
Ukrainians don't like him. He can't win an election.
Well, that's why the bombing... Well, this bombing that Zelensky is responsible for pushing Putin into doing is to put pressure on the Ukrainian people, to put pressure on Zelensky to end this. When you've got one of your soldiers on the front lines putting videos up online blaming you for the death of his unit and not the one that dropped the bombs, you're in trouble. And we're going to wake up one day and someone else is going to be president. I'm telling you. There, not here, there, in Ukraine. And if I was listening to Trump over the weekend, it sounds like that's what the Trump administration is saying. You know, he can't be trusted. He can't be trusted. Like I heard again yesterday, he's ready to sign the mineral deal. Well, sign it and send it to Trump. There's not going to be any more ceremonies. He's going to have to sign everything on his own and then mail it to Trump.
Well, I read the same thing you did, and that's exactly what it said. It said that Zelensky had capitulated and he's ready to sign under any circumstances.
But then he doesn't.
Then nothing happened.
Then he doesn't. But I want to tell you guys this. If you've not taken advantage of this free doorbell camera offer, you want to call Sloman's. I'm going to give you the number in just a moment. You know, Sloman's, the doorbell camera connects directly to your cell phone, and you can have one for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's will also give you a free, customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right. Yeah, so no, everything is going well. There's not a single thing in Trump's orbit that's not going in the right direction. Nothing. Elon Musk, though, yesterday had an idea on how to put pressure on Zelensky. And I think it's a pretty good one because I think most people agree Zelensky's not really in charge. He's a figurehead to the Ukrainian billionaires, the oligarchs, right, they call them. And Elon Musk said that the United States should freeze all of the assets of the Ukrainian billionaire oligarchs. That would do it overnight, he said. And I think he's probably right about that. That's the real power in Ukraine, not Zelensky. And the reason he's not, we can blame the Democrats. I'm not saying they don't have a role, but the real reason he's not signing and making any of these deals is because his billionaire oligarch Ukrainian handlers aren't letting him. So you cut off, and all those guys care about his money.
What's going to make them ready? What's going to
freeze all their assets, their money? If they lose access to their money and their assets, that's it. They'll want it over. Trump will only release it if they let Zelensky sign the ceasefire. That's it, and that's a well. Hey, listen, Elon Musk is not the richest man in the world because he's not. He is very smart. We're out of time for today. I was going to play some audio I didn't get to. You know that SpaceX rocket blew up, and they were singing songs in celebration of the SpaceX rocket explosion on MSNBC over the weekend. I'm not kidding, but we don't have time for that today, unfortunately. Maybe tomorrow.
When are the astronauts coming down?
In a few, about a week. But we're out of time for today. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Of course, Steve Kane is here. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow. Take care. All right, guys, we are out of here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? I'd appreciate it. And if you're already subbed, please like the video and share if you don't mind. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.